Namaste Vidya, Hamisha Khush Raho Vidya. A very good morning to you all. Myself, JV'n Dr. Ravi Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Practice and Medicine, Faculty of Nuclear Science at JAYOTI VIDYAPEETH Women's University. In this series of neurological disorder, today we will be discussing about classification of headache. What are the different types of headache for which the patients are coming to us? This is a series of neurological disorders in which we have already discussed about the introduction of neurological disorders in the previous lecture. I believe you have gone through the anatomy and physiology. You have learned the anatomy, the basic anatomy of the brain, and the 12 cranial nerves. The functions you have already studied. The name and the functions you have remembered. Now let's move ahead with headache, the most common presentation with which the patients are coming to you. हेडेक एक ऐसी बीमारी है, एक ऐसी प्रेजेंटेशन है जिससे ऑलमोस्ट हर एवरी इंडिविजुअल हैज सफर्ड वंस इन हिज लाइफ टाइम. बहुत कॉमन है, कुछ लोगों को इतना कॉमन होता है दैट दे आर टेकिंग टैबलेट वंस अ डे फॉर हेडेक. सो हेडेक आर ऑफ वेरियस टाइप्स. हम लोग लिख देते हैं प्रिस्क्रिप्शन पे हेडेक, दैट इज नॉट करेक्ट. यू हैव टू डायग्नोस a proper headache case. So in this lecture we will learn how to diagnose what are the different types of headache. What is headache? Headache is pain in head. Sir mein dard, that is headache. But being a physician, being a homeopathic practitioner, we should be able to diagnose which type of headache you are trying to find. Just inquire the symptoms, and from those symptoms you should be able to diagnose a proper case of headache. So in today's lecture we will try to learn the summary or in brief the various kinds of headache, and I believe that after this lecture you will be able to give a proper diagnosis to the cases of headache. After this lecture, on the next sessions we will be discussing few headache individually, but in this lecture we will try to learn the basic classification of headache so that you should be able to diagnose a proper headache case in your clinical practice. This is also a very important question from the examination point of view. So be careful and listen carefully. Headache is a symptom of pain where in the region of head and neck. So headache, sir mein dard, jaise maine aapko bataya, pain in head and neck, and both the systems are involved. It is a symptom. Headache is not a diagnosis; it is a symptom. All right. The diagnosis will come later when you diagnose a typical type of headache, a different type of headache. It is basically a symptom. It is a multifactorial origin. Means headache can be due to multiple factors, multiple causes with which a patient is coming to you. And it can be a sign of stress or emotional distress. The headache, जब भी स्ट्रेस में होते हो आप या डिस्ट्रेस में होते हो या कोई बहुत ज़्यादा टेंशन वाली बात होती है, then headache आपको एकदम से आ जाता है, और जैसे ही वो स्ट्रेस जाता है जादू की तरह चला भी जाता है. लेकिन अगर आप हमेशा स्ट्रेस में रहते हो तो you have to take stress or headache. और इट कैन रिजल्ट फ्रॉम अ मेडिकल डिसऑर्डर. सो दो चीज़ें हो सकती है, या तो किसी साइकोलॉजिकल फैक्टर की वजह से, या कोई और डिसऑर्डर की वजह से, या फिर कोई मेडिकल डिसऑर्डर हमारे पास है, या फिर हेल्थ से रिलेटेड कोई प्रॉब्लम है उसकी वजह से. सो देयर आर मल्टीपल कॉजेज, मल्टीपल फैक्टर्स दैट आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द डेवलपमेंट, सच एज माइग्रेन. माइग्रेन बहुत कॉमनली सुनने को मिलता है. पेशेंट बोलता है मुझे तो माइग्रेन. बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स बोलते हैं सर माइग्रेन पढ़ाई नहीं होती. Migraine है तो क्या हो गया? You have to find out the cause that is responsible for the development of that particular type of pain, and you have to treat pain accordingly. और the high blood pressure की वजह से भी headache होता है, anxiety की वजह से headache होता है, और depression इसकी वजह से भी pain हो सकता है. The painful situation in any part of the head, ranging from sharp to dull. There is a great variety, great spectrum of pain. It can be dull pain, it can be aching pain, it can be bruising pain, it can be stitching pain. In homeopathy, we have different kinds of pain that I mentioned in the report. We just go through it. So it can be mild, it can be very severe. There is a great spectrum between mild and very severe type of pain. It can be sharp to dull. That can occur with any other symptom. So headache can occur alone, or it can be present with other symptoms involved. What are the different causes of headache? Headache is a multifactorial disease. So multiple factors, multiple causes are responsible for development. The most common reason the patient seek medical attention is responsible for more disability than any other neurological problem. This is the most common neurological problem for which the patient is coming to the physician for help. In India, maximum patient of headache are taking an analgesics just from the medical store, OTC, and consuming it for a very long time. So this is a very big neurological symptom or disease condition with which the patients, the people of a country or the world are suffering. So this is the first on the commonest symptom for which the patients are coming to the physician. The intensity of head pain rarely has a diagnostic value. The intensity of the pain is a diagnosis. बहुत कम कर पाते हैं. सिर दर्द है तो सिर दर्द है, कम है या ज़्यादा दर्द तो दर्द होता है. The location can suggest the involvement of local structures. This location is important. If you come to know about the location, then you can have a brief idea that yes, it is the location. Then, on the basis of that location, you can have a slight idea about the diagnosis of the. In the upcoming lectures, we will see the typical location of different types of headaches. That location is very important, but the severity of the pain is having a very good diagnostic. The temporal pain in giant cell arthritis is there. Facial pain, if there is facial pain, then condition you can think of sinusitis. The rupture, the causes of headache. The ruptured aneurysm has instant onset. If there is ruptured aneurysm, then the pain onset of pain is very severe, sudden. The cluster has a peak of 3 to 5 cluster headache we will discuss in the next lecture. The migraine pain increases over the next 2 hours. Migraines include headaches. When you see this lady, आगे में भी सर दर्द की वजह से ऐसे ही बहुत सारे लोग को परेशान हो जाते हैं. Headache can cause them paralyzed. They cannot do anything because of headache. Due to headache, all of their life can become ruined. So, understanding headache, understanding the symptoms of headache, classifying headache is very important for a very good physician. Provocation by environmental factors such as benign cause. There can be multiple causes, n number of causes for the development of headache. This is the location-based headache. Right? Just try to understand. Temporomandibular joint involvement. The headache can be in this location. The sinusitis. The sinusitis represents the frontal, typically the sinus headache. The pain behind the bone, cheek, bone, and the cheekbones. Tension headache is the frontal headache, tension headache. Pain like a band squeezing the head. Cluster headache. This is the pain and around the eyes. Just unilateral pain around the eyes. Migraine, you all know one-sided pain, one-sided headache with nausea, vomiting, and visual. Cervicogenic pain. Cervicogenic means radiating from the neck, cervical region to the head, remember synesthesia. Medication overuse headache. There are certain headaches due to the intake of a lot of medications the person is taking. So headache can be of different types. Now let's classify the headache. Classification of headache. International Headache Society has classified the headache into 2 broad categories. 2 broad categories में International Headache Society ने headache को classify किया है. Primary और secondary. बहुत simple है. This is very simple. Primary headache, which is when the headache is having origin that is related to the brain, the head itself. There is no secondary cause. The secondary headache in which the headache is related to some other disease. Now let's study what is primary headache. In those headaches in which the headache and its associated features are the disorders in itself. In itself मतलब जो आपके head से related ही है. Primary headache जो कि किसी दूसरी चीज की वजह से नहीं है, जो भी changes आपके हो रहे हैं वो head के अंदर ही है. They are not the result of any other medical condition. Secondary headache वो headache जो कि किसी secondary condition की वजह से आपकी है. Primary headache हमेशा primary वही होता है जो कि उस जगह से ही related होता है. जैसे headache primary मतलब जो आपकी हेड से ही रिलेटेड है. कोई भी पैथोलॉजी, कोई भी चेंज, कुछ भी चीज आपके हेड से रिलेटेड है, दैट इज प्राइमरी हेडेक. सेकेंडरी हेडेक जब हेड के अलावा आपकी बॉडी में किसी दूसरी डिजीज, कोई भी और डिजीज है, कोई भी दूसरा चेंज है, कुछ भी और हो रहा है जिसकी वजह से सेकेंडरी आपका हेडेक आ रहा है, इसका मैनिफेस्टेशन हेडेक के रूप में सेकेंडरी फॉर्म में आ रहा है, दैट इज सेकेंडरी हेडेक. बहुत सिंपल है, अभी हम इसका और आगे देखेंगे तो और क्लियर हो जाएगा. Headache are those which are caused by exogenous disorders, other disorders, when it is caused by another condition. Now we will understand the different diseases in primary headache and secondary headache causes. Primary headache ये important है ना. Primary headache जो कि जिसमें जो भी changes होते हैं, the changes that are present in head itself. जो headache हो रहा है वो सारे के सारे changes आपके brain में, आपके सिर के अंदर ही है और कहीं से दूसरी जगह से नहीं आ रहा है. इसमें सबसे common tension headache. This is the most common type of मोस्ट कॉमन टाइप ऑफ हेडेक इज टेंशन हेडेक. थोड़ा भी टेंशन हुआ, सर पकड़ के बैठ गए, कैसे होगा काम, समझ में नहीं आ रहा. That is tension headache. It occurs mostly in the frontal region. In the next lecture, we will be discussing about three headaches: tension, migraine, and cluster headache. So tension headache is the most common type of headache. It occurs in 69% of the people. Migraine can be second most cause of headache in the individuals. Migraine का head आपको पता है unilateral headache होता है. With there is great vomiting and loss of sight, and there are many auras and many symptoms that we will discuss in the next lecture. There can be idiopathic stabbing pain without any cause. There is stabbing pain. The cause cannot be identified. There can be exertional headache in 1% of the cases. That is due to exertion. आप बहुत ज़्यादा exertion आपने किया, धूप में चले गए, घूम फिर के आए बहुत ज़्यादा, उसकी वजह से headache हो गया. So that is not very important. उसमें आप rest करोगे तो headache खत्म हो जाता है. Headache goes with the rest. Cluster headache. This occurs in only 0.1% of the cases, but the pain is very severe. There is unilateral pain on one of the eye, and there is great severity of the pain that is experienced by the patient. उसे ऐसा लगता है कि मर जाए तो अच्छा, इतना severe. The primary headache are often results in the considerable disability and disease, decrease in the quality of life. Due to the primary headache, there is great disability. Patient अपना काम नहीं कर पाता. अगर आप सिर पकड़ के बैठे रहो, तो काम कैसे करें? The quality of life is disturbed, it is deranged. So let's remember one more time, let's revise it. The different type of primary headache. Number one is tension type headache, most common type of headache, that is tension type headache. Second one is migraine, that is the second most common type of headache. Then we have idiopathic stabbing pain, the cause is not known. Fourth is exertional headache, that is relieved by rest. And fifth is cluster headache, that is 0.1%. In the next lecture, we will be discussing about tension, migraine, and cluster headache. Now we come to the secondary headache. Secondary headache, the headache that is coming due to some other factor, other disease of some other system or any other pathology. So the most common cause of secondary headache is systemic infection. When a person is having infection in any system, and that is causing headache in a patient. Like in every disease, we study some of the constitutional symptoms. In those constitutional symptoms, we get fever, headache, malaise, weight loss, these symptoms. So, due to that particular infection in any particular part of the body, when headache is coming, that is known as secondary head injury. If there is injury in the head, it is not due to the internal cause of it, but due to external impact. That therefore we have counted it in the secondary causes. Secondary headache. Vascular diseases, like any of the vascular blood vessel disease that is encountered in the severity of secondary hemorrhage. Most common vascular disease is hypertension. It is responsible for the death of the headache. So in hypertension, it is not related to the brain, but blood supply, the heart, the blood vessels. Therefore, it is mentioned in this. Subarachnoid hemorrhage. There is subarachnoid hemorrhage. They are seen in less than 1% of cases. And brain tumor. When there is a brain tumor, then it is due to some other disease that will be classified into the secondary headache. Now, what is the physiology of headache? Let's understand what happens. दर्द होता क्यों है? पेन क्यों हो रहा है? सिर दर्द है लेकिन क्यों है? Why the pain is happening? The stimulation of the peripheral nociceptors. There is stimulation. Pain क्यों हो रहा है? Because of the stimulation of the peripheral nociceptors. The nociceptors are basically the pain receptors. In response to the tissue injury. In response to the tissue injury हो रहा है. Visceral distension and other factors. There can be visceral distension and other factors that are responsible for the stimulation of the peripheral nociceptors, or these are called the pain receptors. It is a normal physiological response. The pain is normal physiological response. ये normal physiological response. हमेशा ध्यान रखिए, पेन अच्छा है आपकी बॉडी के लिए. पेन नहीं होगा तो आपको पता नहीं चलेगा कि कब आपको रुकना है. It is a normal physiological response mediated by healthy nervous system. So pain कभी भी गलत नहीं है, लेकिन अगर वो ज़्यादा हो रहा है तो आपको नुकसान दे सकता है. Damage or inappropriate activation of the pain-producing pathways in the peripheral or central nervous system. तो पेन क्यों प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है? क्योंकि जो पाथवे है जो पेन लेकर, पेन के सेंसेशंस लेकर जा रहा है पेन में आपके, वो डैमेज हो गए या उनका इनअप्रोप्रिएट एक्टिवेशन हो गया. उनको एक्टिवेट नहीं होना चाहिए था, जबरदस्ती एक्टिवेट होकर नर्व इम्पल्सेस आपकी ब्रेन में लेके जा रहे हैं, आपको पेन हो रहा है. इस वजह से भी हेडेक हो सकता है. दिस इज द पैथोफिजियोलॉजी. हेडेक में ओरिजिनेट फ्रॉम आइदर वन और बोथ ऑफ द मैकेनिज्म. तो या दोनों मैकेनिज्म, एक मैकेनिज्म से भी हो सकता है और दोनों मैकेनिज्म, या तो स्टिमुलेशन ऑफ पेरिफेरल नोसिसेप्टर्स हो सकता है या फिर डैमेज और इनअप्रोप्रिएट एक्टिवेशन हो सकता है पेन प्रोड्यूसिंग पाथवेज. तो इन दोनों की वजह से आपको हेडेक हो सकता है. Now, how will you evaluate the clinical case of headache? अगर कोई हेडेक का केस हमारे पास में आता है तो how will you evaluate such a case? The new severe headache has a differential diagnosis that it is quite different from the patient with a recurrent headache. अगर कोई नया पेन हमारे पास में आ रहा है तो वो और जो रेगुलर पेशेंट पेन हो रहा है उन दोनों में बहुत ज़्यादा फर्क होता है over many years because the probability of finding potentially serious cause. क्यों डिफरेंशियल डायग्नोसिस ये चीज़ क्यों बताई गई है कि नए और पुराने पेन में डिफरेंस होता है क्योंकि जो नया पेन होता है उसमें आपको पता नहीं होता कि किस वजह से है तो एन्यूरिज्म रप्चर की वजह से भी हो सकता है एक्सट्रीम ब्लड लॉस की वजह से भी हो सकता है इन्फेक्शन की वजह से भी हो सकता है लेकिन भी एन नंबर ऑफ कॉजेस आपको पता नहीं है उसके बारे में कि किस वजह से हो रहा है तो आप बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस आते जाते हैं तो नया हेडेक आता है आपके पास नया केस आता है लेकिन कोई ऐसा केस है जिसको ऑलरेडी सालों से पेन हो रहा है सालों से सर्जरी हो रहा है तो यू डोंट हैव टू वरी because that is a chronic headache. You already know about the critical disease condition, you know about the silent symptoms, you know about the prognosis of the disease. So it is a better disease, it is a safer side if you know about the disease condition and if a chronic case is coming to you, you can leave it for some time and you can focus more on the new cases. The serious causes to be considered. अब अगर कोई नया केस आ रहा है हमारे पास में सडन हेडेक बहुत सीवियर हेडेक का तो क्या क्या सीरियस कॉजेज उसमें हो सकते हैं जिसका आपको सोचना पड़ेगा. There can be meningitis. Meningitis की वजह से सीवियर पेन आता है, immediate आपको ट्रीटमेंट देना पड़ेगा. There can be subarachnoid hemorrhages. There can be epidural or subdural hematoma. There can be glaucoma, tumor or purulent sinusitis. All these things can happen. Like meningitis, subarachnoid hemorrhage. There can be epidural or subdural hematoma. The glaucoma, tumor and persistent sinusitis. All these factors can be present. Now, what is the history taking? What are the questions that you ask? You have to ask from a patient who is coming to you. The overall, you have to ask for the overall pattern that how the pain started and how the pain is increasing or decreasing with the time. Intermittent or continuous? Is it intermittent or it is continuous? रुक रुक के होता है या लगातार होता रहता है? कितने समय से है? क्या क्या तकलीफ आपको होती है? कहाँ होता है? The speed of onset कैसे होता है? कितनी तेजी से होता है? धीरे धीरे बढ़ता है या एकदम से बढ़ जाता है? The time of onset of the maximal pain. दिन भर में किस समय सबसे ज़्यादा पेन होता है? That's useful you have to ask. The effect of posture cuffing and straining. कब ज़्यादा होता है? लेटने से ज़्यादा होता है, बैठने से ज़्यादा होता है, खांसने से ज़्यादा होता है, कब ज़्यादा होता है? The location of the pain. What is the location of the pain? हाथ लगा के बताओ मुझे किस जगह से हो रहा है? Because we know the location can decide the disease diagnosis. Frontal है तो टेंशन हो सकता है. Sinusitis, nasal bone के अराउंड, frontal sinuses के अराउंड. Occipital है तो आपका hypertension की वजह से हो सकता है. Any associated symptom? Is there any associated symptom with the pain? दर्द हो रहा है तो उस समय और क्या क्या होता है? कोई और तकलीफ भी होती है? What are the investigations? Various investigations that could be done in cases of headache. हमारे पास में कोई केस आता है तो उसमें क्या क्या टेस्ट करवा सकते हैं? अगर आपको पता नहीं है कि किस तरह का हेडेक है, बहुत सीवियर हेडेक आपके पास में आ रहा है, सडन पेन, सीवियर पेन. So there are various investigations that could be carried out in the cases of headache, and then after the diagnosis, disease diagnosis, the treatment has to be, the treatment protocol has to be decided accordingly. So first of all, this complete neurological examination is important. Neurological examination we will be doing in the class. 12 reading of examination में आपको करना होगा. पूरा neurological examination आपको करके देखना होगा. That is very important for the evaluation of headache. If the examination is abnormal, or if there is severe underlying disease is suspected, अगर आपको लगता है कि कोई इसमें disease, severe disease है, आपका neurological examination का नहीं है, then you have to go for imaging study, CT or MRI. That is indicated in the first step. आप चाहते ही बोल देते हैं, कई बार चाहते हैं neurological disease है, देखिए डॉक्टर के पास. तो बड़े-बड़े सर्जन्स, न्यूरो फिजिशियंस आपको जाते हुए बोलते हैं, ठीक है, पहले MRI कराना है, CT स्कैन कराना है. The lumbar puncture is very important. Lumbar puncture is required when meningitis is suspected. When meningitis का होगा जब आपके पास stiff neck या fever patient क्या आएगा. The physiological state of patient should also be evaluated to prevent the depression. ये headache कई अगर कोई ऐसे patient आपके पास आता है जिसका headache since a very long time, so there are a lot of chances for the patient to develop depression. So it is also important for you to manage such a case for depression. Now this is the site. कैसे आप site के according पता लगाते हैं? Headache, sinus pain behind the brow bone and the cheekbone. So sinusitis है. Cluster headache on one eye, tension headache frontal होता है, one-sided headache होता है. So depending upon the location, you can have a proper idea about headache. So this was all about the introduction of headache. We have classified the primary headache, known about the secondary headache. We have known about the various investigations that could be performed in cases of headache. We have learned why patient who is newly coming to with severe headache is more important than the old cases of headache. So this was all about the introduction to headache. In the next lecture, I will be starting from the primary headache. Right? So primary headache we will be discussing 3 types. And this was all for today. This session was powered by digital version 2.0 JAYOTI VIDYAPEETH University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any questions, please mention it in the comments or try to solve. This was all for today. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Ravi signing off for now.